Welcome everybody to our BNI Talks webinar. My name is Steve Tenuza, your host, and today, coming back for his third time, I think.
Yeah.
Torrey Moreno of Mindful Web Design, and we are talking about Google Analytics, something that a lot of people have no idea what it is, but it is such an important part of measuring your website's performance. So let's get right into it. Take some notes, ask some questions in the Q&A, and I'll turn it over to Torrey right now.
All right. Thank you, Steve. That is correct. This is my third BNI Talks webinar, hopefully not my last. I really enjoy doing these, usually do one every 6 to 8 months or something like that. The last ones I did, one of them was on landing pages. So the types of content you want on your landing pages on your website. And then the other one was on lead magnets. And so using basically an alternative lead magnet and a free guide on your website in order to gain leads, but then also grow your audience and grow your email list. And so if you want to check those out, those will be on the BNI Talks YouTube channel that I'm sure Steve will link to at some point. So my name is Torrey Moreno. I've been in digital marketing for 5 or 6 years now. My previous career, I was actually in the Navy, and I was a nuclear technician on the aircraft carriers. And so really fun career, very challenging. And when I got out in 2018, I decided to immediately start actually before I got out, I started learning web design. I was taking some online courses. And then when I got out, I just immediately hit the ground running and started growing a clientele in the Seattle area where I was. And I've been doing it now for about 5 years, and it's been awesome. Served hundreds of business owners with building new websites, doing things like running ads. And now, as of 2 years ago, I started a hosting package as well. So I do a lot of hosting and maintenance for clients ongoing. So that's a little bit about me. If you want to know about what I do for fun, I like to mountaineer, rock climb, a little bit of mountain biking, etc. Anything I can do that boosts the adrenaline, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to get into my slides now. So the title is Demystifying Google Analytics, but I call this the Google Analytics 4 Masterclass. I've done this talk before. And basically, this is me trying to convince you why you should have Google Analytics on your website. Whenever I talk to business owners, and it's usually because they're interested in redesigning their website or making some updates, one of the first things I always ask them is, do you have Google Analytics on your website? Because that's going to tell me how much traffic you have on your website, and also what people are doing on the website. So how they're interacting with each page, which pages they're interacting with the most, etc. And usually the answer I get is no, I don't even know what that is. And this is always like, oh, I'm pulling my hair out, because there's so much valuable information that you can draw from Google Analytics. And it's not just to improve your website, it's to improve your business at large, because this is basically telling you which pages your potential clients are interacting with the most, therefore which services and which topics they care about the most. So today we'll be answering the who, how, what, when, where, why of Google Analytics. And so I'll break these down by topic. So demographics, this is the who. Who is coming to the site? Session duration, how long are they staying? Conversions, what actions did they take while they were on the site? Bounce rate, when do they leave? So when do they exit the website? Acquisition, where are they coming from? There are many different sources. There's organic search, there's ads, there's social media, etc. And then user engagement, why did they come to the site? What was the reason that they came to the site? So we'll be answering each one of these individually. So why should you use Google Analytics? Biggest one, it's free. So Google has a number of tools and resources that they give for free for people to use to improve their business, improve their website. Another one of them being the Google Business Profile. It's changed names a few times. I'm not sure what they're calling it right now, but the Google Business Profile is a huge one. I'm sure a lot of you have this. If you have a business and you create a Google Business Profile, that's what, when someone searches your name on Google, it pops up your little window. If you were to go and search Mindful Web Design right now, it would probably pop up my business profile, and it shows your reviews, a little snippet, and it also shows a link to your website, your hours, kind of the region that you work within, etc. And that also boosts your SEO if you have one of those, because if you're constantly garnering new reviews, Google is basically boosting your authority. And so that's another valuable tool, but this is in addition to Google Analytics. And so another one is the Google Search Console. And so this gives you, valuable SEO information on your site and which pages are actually indexed in Google. A lot of these are kind of like pro tools, but Google Analytics and Google Business Profile are ones that everyone should be using. Every single business owner should be using. So by the end of this talk today, you're going to understand what it is, why you should be using it. And then I actually have a free guide at the end that's going to help you set this up on your website yourself. And this is also a service that I do as well. And I'll be offering some freebies at the end. So first reason it's free. Second reason, to understand your audience. And so you want to understand who's coming to your website and how they're interacting with it. 3, it's going to help you make data-driven decisions and upgrades and updates to your website. So you know where to put energy and resources into your website when you say, okay, I have a chunk of time, I can make some updates to my website. Where do I want to make those updates? Because you don't want to make an update to a specific services page just because you think that people care about that page. You want to look at the analytics and see what are my top ranking pages? What are people interacting with the most? Is it the about page? Is it one of these specific services pages? Is it the contact page? So this Google Analytics is going to tell you that. And then measure effectiveness of your marketing campaigns as well. And so present state to desired future state, when we're setting goals, that's where we want to go. And before you get to your desired future state, you have to first understand the past in order to make better decisions. So let's go through some definitions before I start just spouting off definitions without you guys understanding what some of these are. So first is a user. This is a term that I use very, very often. And this is just an individual who is accessing your site. So whenever I say the term user, that's what I mean. Second is a conversion. So this is an action that a user takes on your website, which gets them one step closer to becoming a customer, i.e. a form entry, an appointment scheduled, a purchase made, etc. So that would be considered a conversion. Call to action. This is usually in the form of a button, a big, colored button. It's usually in your brand color on the website. And this is a piece of content. This is the kind of technical definition. A piece of content intended to induce a viewer, reader, or listener to perform a specific act. And it's typically taking the form of an instruction or a directive, buy now, click here, etc. And so a call to action, whenever I use that term, it's usually a button somewhere on the site. And we want to make sure we have lots of calls to action on the website so that people actually know where to go next. It always kills me when I look at a potential client's website and they have all this fantastic information on the homepage and other pages, but there are very few buttons, if maybe one on the entire page, that are leading them to either the contact page or their scheduler. You want to have those calls to action very commonly throughout the website, especially if you have a valuable piece of information that might be kind of convincing a client to move forward with you, or a potential client to move forward with you. Directly after that piece of content, you want to have that call to action. All right. So let's get into the first one, the who. This is demographics. So who is coming to the site? So I'm going to talk about all of these, and then we will view Google Analytics afterwards. I'll get into a couple of my clients' Google Analytics dashboards and show you where everything is. So for now, just kind of take a mental note of all of the data that you can draw from Google Analytics for your website, and then we'll take a look at it afterwards in the dashboard, so I'm not flipping back and forth the entire time to Google Analytics and back. So first is the who is coming to the site. Available information in the dashboard is city of residence, gender, age, and interests. Why is this important? Because you want to know who your clientele is. You want to know who is coming to your website. I'm sure you have accurate information of who you commonly serve. And so you want to get an idea of, is that person, is my kind of my customer avatar? Are they the ones that are coming to my site? Or is it somebody for some reason out of my avatar? And is there maybe potential to serve another avatar that's commonly coming to my site, but I'm not really getting leads from them for some reason? Is there some other type of content that I need to create to, instead of this kind of like 40 to 60-year-old, I'm getting for some reason these like, 20 to 40-year-old and in a slightly different city of a different gender than what I normally serve. And so this is going to give you that information so you can understand that. Next is session duration. How long are they staying? So why is this important? This metric tells us how long users are interacting with the site. The quality of the experience and content on our site directly impacts this metric. If you have engaging content that people care about and are interested in learning more about, they will stay longer. And so session duration is very, very important. It's one of the few first things that I always look at. And that's because if this average session duration is, say, 20 to 30 seconds, that means that people are getting to the site, they might be scrolling a bit, but they're immediately leaving. And so that means that the bounce rate is very high. And this usually means that the content on the website isn't high quality enough. And so it's not engaging, it might be confusing. And so there's a number of things that you can realize after you see that your engagement or your session duration is very low. But those are just a few. And so if it's low, you want to ask yourself, am I being clear enough? Is the hero section, which is that first section on my website, am I clearly communicating what it is that I do and who it is that I do it for? Because the rule is when somebody gets to your website, they need to understand within a few short seconds what you do, who you do it for. And then there needs to be a call to action as well. And so in addition to this, I talk about this in one of my last webinars. I think it was actually my first one. It's called the 5 landing page psychology principles. And so I go into the 5 main pieces of content that you want to have on your website in order to do exactly this. So increase session duration, but then also increase activity, because you don't just want people to stay for a long time. You want them to interact with your site. You want them to go through multiple pages. And so, like I said, that webinar has a lot more information and I dive deeper on that topic. But if your session duration is low, you might want to take a look at that webinar. I have more information on my website. And I actually think my website, I have the webinars on my homepage if you want to just go there and take a look at them. And so you might just want to ask yourself, what types of content do I have? Do I need to improve that? Do I need to have some more valuable information? Do I need to create a lead magnet? Because no one's really filling out my contact form and I want to offer something else for free on the website. So start asking yourself these questions. Pro tip, if you have an external calendar that you send users to as your main call to action, make sure that you host the calendar widget on your website instead of sending your website traffic away from the site for their next step. This is important because let's say people are getting to your homepage and your homepage is solid and the majority of people are immediately clicking that call to action and going to your calendar. If you have that as an external link, so let's say you have Calendly, for example, and that button is sending them to the Calendly, Calendly/yourname.com, then you're basically, Google is seeing that action as people immediately leaving your website. And so instead of doing that, you want to host your Calendly on a page on your website, because then Google is viewing that as, oh, okay, they're interacting with multiple pages. They're staying on the site. They're not leaving immediately. So just a little pro tip that I always make sure to implement for clients. And this is that pro tip continued. So you'll see on my site, instead of, I use one called OneSub. I wouldn't necessarily say, if you have Calendly, I wouldn't necessarily say to use that one, but I use OneSub and I have the OneSub widget on my website instead of sending them to the OneSub landing page. So then with this, Google, when people click that book a call button, Google is viewing that as them just simply interacting with my site and going to another page. Just take a drink. Session duration continued. How long are they staying? So according to Google Analytics, a strong average session duration metric is between 1 to 3 minutes. And so if you have analytics set up on your website already, go ahead and check that out. If you have that somewhere between 1 to 3 minutes, that's great. And if it's below that, just start asking those questions. What kind of content do I have on my site, on my homepage? And do I need to work on that a little bit and improve it? So next up is conversions. What actions did they take while they were on the site? So there are some macro and some micro. So micro is the actions your marketing is focused on, and the macro is the actions that your business is focused on. And so micro conversions, this is a video played. They scroll to the bottom of the page, maybe they clicked a button, they downloaded a lead magnet, and then macro is something that gets them closer to actually, taking action and potentially investing with you. And this is entering a form. So on your contact page, if they were to fill out a form and enter it, if they were to schedule an appointment, make a purchase, or call email button, if they were to, click a call/email button on your website. So those are the macro. So this is a little visualization of a funnel. And so you have multiple micro conversions before one of those kind of macro major conversions, right? And so you want to have a lot of valuable information on your site, because basically trust needs to be built before they make that macro conversion, before they fill out a form, before they click a button to go to your scheduler. There needs to be trust built first. And this trust, this is all the stuff that I talk about in that 5 landing page psychology principles webinar. That was my first webinar with BNI. So once again, if you want a little bit more information on that topic, go there. But basically, you want to have a lot of valuable information on your website. I have Tom Cruise here just saying, show me the money. And so that's at that major conversion. That's the money maker right there. But you have to have a lot of those micro conversions on your website in order to get there first. Bounce rate. When are users leaving? And so this is also one of the first metrics that I look at when I am auditing a website and gathering information, especially for website redesign. I want to see how soon people are leaving the site. So the definition of bounce rate is the percentage of users who immediately leave your website after viewing only one page. If you have a high bounce rate, that usually means, sometimes people have just a one pager. They have a one-page site. So they might have a nav bar at the top with a menu, but that simply sends them down to a certain spot on that same homepage. This is a kind of a big no-no, because Google sees it as you just have one page and that's it. Google likes to see multiple pages, and they like to see pages with valuable information that people are spending time on. And so if you just have one page, you're probably not going to rank in Google. You're probably not going to rank for certain keywords. You'll rank for yourself always. You'll rank for me. I would rank for mindful web design. You would rank for your business name, but you'll probably never rank for services. You want to have, if you want to rank for a specific service that you perform, you want to have a separate page with that service being the title and content on that page being about that service. And you want to have a separate services page for every service that you perform. And so that's also going to ensure that your bounce rate is low, meaning that people are actually interacting with your site. They're going to multiple pages. And so that also that also goes for beyond services pages. That goes for having an about page. People want to know more about you before they actually invest money with you, especially if you are a high value service. If your service is over 1,000 to upwards of 10, 20, 30,000 per job, and even higher for things like construction and interior design, etc. People want to know who they're working with. And so it's very, very important to have an about page. And on some business websites that I look at, about page is the second most commonly viewed page. And so this, I'll show you, it's called a flow chart at the end. But as soon as they get to the homepage, the majority of people are going directly to the about page, because they want to know who they're working with. And this is especially common with websites like attorneys, real estate agents, those services that are very, very intimate, and you're working with your client a lot. So have an about page, have services pages, have that contact page, and have call to actions throughout the entire website. So how is bounce rate different in GA4? So we just switched to GA4. This is kind of this term I'll use a little bit in this talk. It's not super important if you're new to Google Analytics, but basically there was universal analytics before, and then this summer they actually switched the platform to GA4. And so there's a few things that are a little bit different. So this is really only important if you're already familiar with Google Analytics and you've used it in the past. But with GA4, the bounce rate, so they're changing up what is considered a bounce. And now it's not a bounce if people stay longer than 10 seconds, which you can manually change this. And I think you should, because just because someone stays for 11 seconds or 20 seconds, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a high quality interaction. So this is something that you can manually change within Google Analytics. They're saying it's not a bounce if they viewed more than one page, which I think that's accurate. And then if they completed a conversion of any type as well. And then insight. So if your bounce rate is high, simply improve your content. Same thing with the session duration. View my other webinar on the 5 psychology principles of website landing pages. And then hopefully I'll add a link to the chat, or I'll be able to do this afterwards. But like I said, it's on my website homepage if you scroll down a little bit. So I have that one along with my lead magnets talk as well. I have the YouTube videos on there. Next up, acquisition. So where are users coming from? So there's a few different types of traffic. There's direct. So this is whenever someone types your URL into their browser. So goes to Google, types mindfulweb.co. Organic, traffic from search engines. So Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. Referral. So this is a traffic from users who click external links to visit your site. So if they click a link on, let's say, another website. So if you hosted a blog on another website, and you have your link in that blog, this would be a referral. If another company is kind of referencing your work, that would be a referral if they have a link on their site and a user is going to your site. And then social media. Social is just traffic from a social media site or app like Instagram, Facebook, etc. And then paid. So this is traffic specifically from PPC ads, such as Google or Facebook ads. So this is a little breakdown of a screenshot from Google Analytics showing that breakdown of acquisition. So this is one of my clients, and this shows paid search, how much they're getting through there. So this is 2,600. Display, these are also ads. Direct, and that's 510. Organic search, 367. So they actually have a pretty good SEO in addition to also doing ads as well. So this is a company that's really, really trying to grow. If your website activity isn't anywhere near this, don't worry. This is definitely a company that has a large capacity for work, and they're trying to grow very quickly. 5,000 users a month is a lot. I would say a small business is somewhere closer to, on average, somewhere between a few hundred to 1,000 is pretty good numbers. And even if it's just hovering around 1 to 300, that's pretty good, I would say. And if it's 300, that's averaging around 10 users a day, and I would say those are solid numbers. All right, so let's see. And these stats on the right show a lot of valuable data as well. So in the breakdown between the different types of acquisitions, so organic search, direct, paid search, organic social, referral, it shows the type of engagement. And so this shows engagement rate. Organic search is always going to be the highest. Shout out to all my SEO guys in the talk here. And SEO, I always say SEO is much higher value and higher quality traffic than paid ads, because When people are searching for a certain service, it's kind of like, the way I explain it is like, it's like they have the pain in their side. So when they go to Google and they search, roofer near me, or roofer Seattle, or roofer Houston, it's like they have that pain point in that moment. When an ad pops up on your social media, or your, Instagram or Facebook, they're in the mode of like scrolling and looking at cat videos, or like looking at what their niece is up to. And so they're not in that money buying mode. When someone goes to Google and searches roofer near me or lawyer near me, they have that current pain, and they're looking for a solution. And so it's kind of like they have their credit card in their hand, and they're ready to, if not purchase, they're at least ready to start a conversation. And so that's why I say organic search and SEO is one of the most valuable services you can use in digital marketing, if you're looking to grow your business and grow the traffic that's going to your website. And so organic search here, this is kind of SEO related, this is always going to be the highest. And so engagement rate, that's the highest. Average engagement time, 1 minute and 52 seconds, which is the highest, compared to direct, which is crazy, because direct is somebody that already knows your business and is going there directly. And this is, organic search / SEO is definitely higher than paid search by almost a minute. Event count is higher, etc. So user engagement, why did they come to the site? So this is a way to basically make some insights on why they're coming to the site in the first place. So pages and screens, this shows how much traffic each individual page has received. This is one of the most valuable insights of all. This shows you what your audience is the most interested in learning more about. So you could ask your clients, which services would you like to learn more about? You could ask them, which one do you care most about? But that is going to be kind of a biased answer. The way to get the most accurate is by looking at your Google Analytics, because that's going to show you the actual actions, instead of words. It's going to show you the actions that people are taking on your website, and what they want to learn most about. And so if you have kind of what I call, the most common business website, which is homepage, you have a few services pages, one for each service that you perform, about maybe one other, and then a contact page. If you use this feature to look at which pages on your website are most popular, you're going to see what people want to learn more about. And that's going to be the most accurate answer. And you should then put more energy into those pages that are more popular. Landing pages, this shows which page was the first page a user landed on when coming to the website. So very commonly, this is going to be your homepage. When someone learns about a business, they're going to go searching in Google, and most of the links are going to go directly to the homepage. But this is also going to show from the homepage, where did they go from there? And so where did they click, either in that nav menu, or where did they scroll on the homepage, and then click one of those follow-up calls to action to go to another page. And that's why I say that the homepage should basically be it's a jumping off point. And so you don't want to have all of your information on the homepage. You want to have basically snippets of other pages. And so, instead of a massive block about the company, you want to have a little blurb, maybe like a photo of you or a photo of the team with a tiny little about blurb, and then a link to the about page. You want this to be a jumping off point. And so you want to have a lot of your other pages have the bulk of the value, but you want your landing page to have little snippets to basically hint at value and educate a little bit, and then get them to another page to either fill out a form or learn more about a service or learn more about the company, etc. Pro tip: one sec, my little Zoom tool is like in the way of this. When you learn which pages are on your site, when you learn which pages on your site besides your homepage have the most traffic, invest more energy into those pages and create more content to educate. So yeah, I'm kind of just hammering this home once again, but use Google Analytics to learn which pages on your site have the most traffic, have the most clicks, have the most engagement, and then invest energy. And that includes things like creating more content for yourself. So, you could do some video content. I have some video content of myself on my website. You could create a blog post about that topic, or related to that topic or service. You could hire somebody like Steve Tanujo, our amazing host, who is a content writer. I've used him before for some of my clients. I've worked with him and he's fantastic. And so you can hire a content writer to, either improve that website page, or, create a page related to that topic. Just a few.
Yeah, Torrey, I was going to mention that, a lot of people look at what their most popular pages are, but one of the good things about Google Analytics is you can see what's not performing well. Figure out why. It might be a broken link. It might be just content that's not resonating with the person who's coming on there. So that's an opportunity to fix those.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, and it's not just looking at the good stuff. It's also looking at what am I doing wrong as well. Very good point. All right. So in terms of user engagement, this page actually breaks down by web page, which ones are most popular, and kind of lists the engagement on those pages. And so the one that just has the /1, that's actually the home page very commonly. And then moving down from there, request quote is actually the second most popular. This is for one of my clients' asset roofing company. And the third most popular is residential roofing services. So that's them wanting to learn more about the roofing service at large, the residential roofing service. Number 4 most popular is contact. 5 is seamless rain gutter installation. So if they're, doing an audit, or if they're in a quarter where they have a little bit of time to invest into some of their website pages and improve them, they might want to, pour some energy and resources into residential roofing services, seamless rain gutter installation, since that's one of the more popular. And then, some of these kind of SEO pages as well that are more popular. They're getting a lot of traffic from Everett. And so they might want to pour more energy into that SEO pages area. This is another client. This is K&L Interiors, and this is an interior design firm here in Seattle that I work for. And so once again, most popular is going to be that homepage. But this is, pretty obvious with designers, contractors, architects, a lot of companies in the home improvements and design builds arena. Portfolio is almost always going to be the second most popular, because they, potential clients want to see what their work looks like. And so with this client, portfolio is the second most popular. Third is the contact. Fourth is the about, because of course people want to know who they're going to be working with. And then it breaks down by their individual portfolio pages, which ones are most popular. And so that's also valuable, because they can see which one of their projects people are most interested in learning about. And then they can take insights. So why is that portfolio project most popular? Is it because the thumbnail for that portfolio page is the prettiest? Is it the name? What is it about that page that people are using on the portfolio to click through the most? And then in addition to that, let's add some more, let's bulk up that page and improve it, since that's getting the most views, and maybe put a call to action at the bottom, maybe put a special offering on that page in order to draw more leads. So just a few things there. This is actually a business lawyer in Seattle, Apex Law Group. Once again, of course, number 1 commonly viewed page is that homepage. Number 2 is the about page, so who we are. If you're hiring a lawyer, you want to know who it is, of course. And number 3 types of dissolution. So this is actually a blog page and a topic. And so that's really, really valuable insight, because if this blog post is getting that many views per month, then they probably want to beef up that page a little bit, add some calls to action. Once again, they can make some offerings on that page. And then number 4, their legal services page is the 4th most popular, and that's just a standard services page. Number 5 is Peter Smith. He's actually the lead attorney, so it makes sense that he is in the top 5 most commonly viewed pages. So Google Analytics setup. So how do you set up Google Analytics? I'm sure by now you're saying, all right, Torrey, I believe it. I'm a believer in Google Analytics. I know I need it on my website. How do I get it? How do I install it on my site? So one, I have a free resource on my site. And so I actually, you probably saw in the lower left-hand corner, I have this little URL, mindfulweb.co/analytics. I actually have a download for a free resource to help you set up Google Analytics on your site. It's a little difficult. It's a little techy. And so if you run into issues, this is also a service that I perform for businesses. And so, I have my main service is a full website redesign. It's anywhere from, 3,500 all the way up to, depending on the size of your business, to 7,500 to over 10K. And then I have, smaller services as well. So I also host and maintain websites. And I have a little bit of information about that on my website. If you don't have a webmaster that's currently connected to your business. And then I have other smaller services like just doing an audit. So if you're like, hey, Torrey, I just want to understand what's going on my website, maybe get some insights from you and some suggestions. That's another service that I perform. And then also analytics installing. So if you already have a webmaster or if you do everything yourself, very commonly, but you just want analytics installed on your site, that's something that I do as well. So then have a professional, if you have a webmaster, have them do it. Just ask, hey, can we get analytics set up on our website? I'd like to get some insights. If they don't do it for you, or if they say they can't do it, then you should probably look for a new webmaster. I'm very surprised when businesses already have a webmaster but don't have analytics or don't have any of these valuable tools like Google Business Profile. And then lastly, YouTube tutorials. So if you go to YouTube right now and click install Google Analytics on my website, search that, it will have a very clear walkthrough and you should be able to do it that way. The free resource that I have here on this URL, that is, it's built with kind of WordPress in mind because WordPress is the most common platform for business owners at our level. But if you have a Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, etc. website of another platform, there's a step in there where I explain that you'll just need to go to Google to figure out through them how to add Google Analytics to your website. Next up, I wanted to talk about the user flow chart. So this is another valuable page on Google Analytics, and this shows you basically the flow through your website. And so step one is always going to be, almost always going to be the homepage, not always, but very commonly. And it shows from there where people are going to next. And so from this homepage, people are going to who we are. So like I mentioned before, that about page, there's other flows into the legal services, the contact. And so you can expand this, you can add multiple steps. And this basically shows what is the most common first, second, and third step on your site. And from each of those steps, where are they going to next after that? And so really, really interesting page. And this is also one of those things I look at when I'm auditing a site and when I'm gathering information for a redesign. Bonus. So you can connect Google Analytics with your Google Search Console, and this helps you understand which keywords in Google searches are leading people to your site. So if you do have good SEO on your site and you're getting some organic traffic from other keywords besides just your business name, let's say you're a roofer, if you are gathering traffic from things like roofing Seattle or roofing Bellevue, etc., or rain gutter installation, then this Google Search Console is going to give you some data on that. And then it's also going to show you which keywords are leading to the most conversions. So this is a little QR. If you haven't gone to that link already, this is a little QR code to set up G on your website. So this is going to lead you to that page where you can get that free guide, that free download. So I'll leave that up for a split second while I take a drink of water. All you need to do is point your phone camera at it, and it should come up with a link. All right, awesome. Next up, before I close things out, I just wanted to let everybody know I'm trying to book out for the rest of the year, and so I have some discounts for my BNI family, and they're pretty deep discounts. Some of these prices haven't been this low for years, and so I have my fully custom WordPress website redesign that's normally $7,500. I'm actually discounting that for the next week down to $5,500, so a whole $2,000 off. I'm doing this just for my BNI folks. I'm just offering this here, and it's just for the next week. So if you want to go ahead and go to my website and schedule an appointment, I'll honor that. Even if let's say I don't have any appointments next week, or if you're not available next week, if you schedule the appointment within this next week, I'll still honor that, even if it's for an appointment that's a couple weeks out. And then in addition to that, if you're like, hey, Torrey, I just want to learn a little bit more about my website, what's going on, maybe have you install Google Analytics for me, etc. I do a complete website audit. That's also normally $499, and this 1 week discount is going to be $199. And there's a lot of information that you'll get from this audit. Next up, contact me. So if you want to get in touch with me, if you want, I don't have my email there. My email is just torrey@mindfulweb.co. And so if you want these slides, feel free to email me, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know, and I will send you these slides. And that is it. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was really good info. I think a lot of people learned a lot of things. We have a bunch of questions in Q&A.
Cool.
So if you're ready to take them on, I will read them to you.
All right. Yeah, let's go.
First person's asking about analytics for YouTube.
Fantastic question. Oh man, I wish they did. I really wish they did. So I know that I can't answer this for sure. I know that YouTube Studio profile definitely has some information that you can draw from each individual video in terms of like views and things like that. I don't think they have it where it's that detailed, and I don't think they answer the who, what, when, where, why, like we just went through for Google Analytics. Unfortunately, I like where your head's at though, and that's now a question that I have as well. And I want to go do a little bit of research as well. So great question.
All right. Someone's asking, I have a nonprofit that uses a Staples mailbox, and Google won't let me make the change. We don't have a brick and mortar store. So, okay. So that's tricky.
Yeah, that is tricky. That is very tricky. So I know there's there's some ways that you can escalate with Google, but they kind of guard their personal resources a lot. So they guard their phones. They make it really difficult for you to call and even email, and they try and get you to kind of like follow through their like FAQs and self-guided tutorials as much as possible. And so I would say with that, it's kind of like with Google, you kind of just have to keep trying. You kind of just have to keep pestering them. There's other issues with Google. Like I get complaints all the time about reviews getting removed from the Google business profile, which is really annoying. That's happened to me, and it's like I have this fantastic 5-star review and Google removes it for some reason. And so, I've had to try and message them. Sometimes you get it back, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just have to have a client do the review from another Google profile, etc. So I would say just keep trying, and if not, you might have to just set up a new Google business profile. Worst case, hopefully you don't have a ton of reviews that you're going to lose. But if you don't have a lot of reviews already on that, then I would say just set up a new one if they're not going to help you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, here's a great question.
That's a question. Oh, Brian. Oh, Brian. I ask the same thing every single day. Why does it make Google Analytics 4 so much less easy to use than Universal Analytics? Fantastic question. I think, whenever a platform is always going to get more complicated and harder to use with more features. And so that's one thing, you know, as a platform grows, it's always going to get the UI experience and UX experience is going to get more difficult because they just have to fit more things, and there's more options nested. And so that's I'd say probably the main answer there. And it's just, you know, Google, they're not always invested in the best UI because they don't really have big competitors, and so they're not really worried about losing customers and users as well. And these are
Yeah,
free tools also, you know.
absolutely. All right. Next question. What's an example of an effective lead magnet?
Fantastic question. Great question. I have a webinar on this that's on my homepage. And I also have a lead magnet about lead magnets on my homepage as well. So I have a lead magnet that teaches you what an effective lead magnet is, how to create it, and how to put it on your site. But an effective lead magnet is basically you gotta take stock of what is a free resource that I can have on my site that's going to be valuable, and that isn't just advertising my services again. So it's not just reiterating all the stuff I have on my site. What is a topic that customers might want to learn about that is valuable enough that they'd be willing to give their information in return for downloading this resource, so that they'd be willing to give their email or phone number, etc., in order to get this. And so just think about topics that your audience cares about or that's related to your service, and create a free guide related to it.
All right, we have Stephanie's asking about the charts that you were showing. Is that like a screenshot from Google Analytics, or was it just something that you created?
This is all Google Analytics. So I actually, I totally failed to. I meant to go to Google Analytics and kind of walk through. Should I do that now, real quick, Steve, or do we have time?
You've got, if you can do it in about 4 minutes or so.
Okay, yeah. So I'll use this to, I guess, answer your question. Let me exit. Exit. There we go. So can you see my screen? Can you see Google Analytics?
Yep.
Okay. So a couple different clients. This is that path exploration. This is for Apex Law Group, a law group here in Seattle that does business law. So I'm going to go to the homepage. So these are this is where I got all of the screenshots that you saw in the talk today. And so this is going to show, so users, this is the home screen. This is going to show users over the last 7 days. You can change this to the last 28 days. And this is going to show day-by-day breakdown of how many users you had on the site, how many new users versus return, and then event count. So how many, by those users, how many events were created. And an event is something like a click or viewing a page or viewing a video. And then if you go down, there's some more insights, but you can break that down by each topic. So each topic that we explained today is its own section of analytics. And so we talked about acquisition. This is where people are coming from, the engagement, what they're doing on the site, etc. So if we were to look at acquisition, the overview is almost always the most common and valuable screen. And it's going to give you kind of like the high level insights. And this is going to show, by organic search, by direct, by referral, how much traffic you're getting to the site. They have a lot of organic traffic. Apex Law does, because their blog page is very involved. They have a new blog at least a couple times a week, minimum once a week. And then from each of those sources, how many sessions per month as well. Engagement. So this is going to be an overview of how people are engaging with the site. Their engagement average time is just hovering right around about a minute. So that's kind of that minimum that you want to see. And then by page, how many views per page. And this is actually going to give you a little bit of a larger breakdown on which pages are being most commonly engaged with on the site. This is just showing the top 10, but there's a button here. I'm on a smaller screen than I'm normally on, where you can view all pages on the site. This website has about 500 pages. It's massive. And so it'll break down by every single page, how many views it gets, how many users per page, the engagement time of that page, etc. So there's a lot of valuable insights that you can draw from Google Analytics. All right. I hope that answers that question. Let's go
All
back.
right. Alex is asking how to track offline advertising, billboards, print, radio, TV to account for your web traffic.
Let me just open up just Q&A again so I can read that. How to track, or at least make educated guess about offline advertising. Ooh, fantastic question. So this is one that is sometimes a little bit more art than science. And in terms of calls, there's some call tracking. I know like CallRail, for example, is a big one. And this is something that, you know, my SEO guy, Sean On with Spike Interactive, implements with his clients whenever he's doing either SEO or ads or helping them set up outside marketing like these. And CallRail is a system that you can use. So if you have, let's say you were doing all of these, billboards, print, radio, and TV, what you would do is you would have a different phone number for each individual ad. You would set up CallRail, and CallRail helps you create those numbers. And I think it's through Google Voice usually is how those numbers are, those phone numbers are created. And those numbers they're all going to the same landline or phone. Of course, you don't need to have separate phones, but it's just creating different numbers in order to send to that same number or phone. And so you'd have a different phone number for each one of these, and then CallRail will show you the breakdown of how many calls you're getting per each ad source. So that's, I would say, the most technical way to go about that.
Yep. All right. Let's see. How do you get to the user flow in GA4?
Great question. We just went there, but I will show you. So it's this explore, and then right here, path exploration. So yeah, Google, the universal analytics, the one that we just moved from, had a much simpler one to use. This one is a little bit more difficult, but it's this path exploration under explore. And this is, it pulls this up, and I would just watch a YouTube video on this. So if you're interested in using this more, just look up path exploration GA4 on YouTube. And you'd have to change this to page title and screen name. And then you have to add steps as well. So that, you know, step 3, step 4. So it shows you after the first and second click, where else people are going past that. But this is that user flow chart.
Okay, last 2 questions. How do I see my Google Analytics? I have Google Ads. Will Google Analytics be in there?
Yes. Short answer is yes. You do have to connect them in order for your ads to create insights on Google Analytics. And that's, you know, beyond. So, you know, first step is you don't have Google Analytics automatically. So you have to set it up first. You have to go to Google Analytics, set up an account, and then, you know, basically create a profile for your business. You'll see, you know, if I look at mine, in a sec, you'll see I have accounts for like all of my clients that I do, you know, hosting and maintenance for. So you'd have to set up an account specifically for your website, and then Google Analytics spits out a little code that you have to install on your website. And so I have instructions in that little setup guide on how to do that. And then with that, Google starts actually tracking the activity on your website. And so in order to connect, and then so that's the first step. The second step is connecting Google Analytics and ads. And for that, I'd say, you know, either hire a specialist or watch a YouTube video to learn more about that. But that is possible.
Right. And last question, is there a way to save Google reviews in case Google deletes them?
Great question. I would say save them manually in like a Google Doc. Each review that you get, you know, have a Google Doc that you copy and paste them into. That way, if Google deletes them, you can reach out to that client and say, hey, you know, thank you again so much for your review. Google deleted your review, so I'm wondering if you can fill it out again, either on a different profile. So, you know, have them enter a different Google profile to submit that review again. Or can you submit this review on another platform, like on my Facebook page, on my LinkedIn, etc. Somewhere else that is kind of the second most common source of traffic that people are looking at.
All right, that's going to do it for our time and our questions. Oh, there is one more question in there. I don't know. We have time for it. Let's say it just says thank you. There you go. Perfect.
Ew.
All right. Torrey, thanks for being on today. This was great. Well, of course, we'll have you on again with another exciting topic. Any final words before we sign off?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I hope you got some valuable information today. I hope you guys check out my previous talks. And if you're interested, once again, I hope I had enough links on there for you guys to start a conversation with me. And I wish all of you guys success in the coming months and years.
All right, that sounds great. Everyone give yourselves a CEU, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.
See you.